Everybody, welcome back to another Mindset Mastermind and having a great conversation before we got in the room here recorded on many of us in this space of real estate, especially if we have that entrepreneurial spirit, are on the disc profile of high D. We're driven, we're active, we're moving forward, we're making a lot happen. And the number one pain point for a high D is having their time wasted. So when you're having your time wasted, you're going to get wound up. You're going to feel, because that's your natural programming. And a big part of successful communication is knowing this information, knowing thyself, and then giving the other people actually their way. So Celeste, you were wound up when you were in the consumer part and the provider was not giving you your way. Fairly accurate?
I think that not just that they didn't give me my way. If I understood the rules of the game, it would have been a whole different scenario. But that is not what I was told. I have been told my appointment was at 8:30. I was there on time.
By the way, a high D will also justify all of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
And yet, if this was an S, somebody who's all about service and caring and understanding, they would have just gone along with it and it would have been okay. Now, we as Ds get to learn from that and bring it in. And I'm sure there's Ds on here going, why aren't we talking about the content right now?
Yeah.
This is what we should be doing. Right? And so we're going to get into it yet. Every morning, we're going to have nuggets that come out of some places that lead the conversation in a different direction. And that's okay.
Russ is learning island time right now. So a high D moving to Puerto Rico is also an interesting challenge.
Hey, I just put 2 offers in on 2 other things, so I at least have something. I'm going to make it happen fast. And I'm still going to do it within their parameters. So we are in the new 7 musts of marketing. We are in the second half of this, wrapping up. And so today is our last day before we jump into a little bit on attraction. So I want to hear this whole marketing section. We're just going to bundle it all together. Part 1 and part 2. What really are your takeaways that you guys are going to implement? You're going to make happen.
Russ, I'm going to jump in real quickly on this because the Dream 100 was not new to me, and part of the reason why it's not new is because their client Russell Brunson taught it to me several years back. But I really broke this up the other day, and I was thinking, you can have in our world, you can have a Dream 100 for clients. You can have a Dream 100 for your influencers who are big players in your world, meaning they're not direct clients, but they're people who can feed the system for you. Could be an employer, could be just an influencer, could be somebody who's got, I can't even think of all the possibilities, but there are people that you go, he knows everybody, she knows everybody. They're just, so again, it could be a vendor, could be a relationship with a vendor. And you could have a Dream 100 for recruiting. I want my 100 best recruits. I mean, sure, it's nice to take everybody, but who do I really want? And by the way, for those that are building their organizations, whatever that looks like, and whatever company you're with, I would say we need to be more selective. We're sometimes excited about just getting who we get instead of deciding who we want. And that puts a different pressure on us. But I think that, and I don't think I told this story in here. I'm going to share this in the shortest possible way. But years ago, when Hobbs Herder was in its earliest stages, and we were just coming up into like big, and we hadn't figured out how to scale. And I hired a woman. Some of you know what Carl's Jr. is. I think they're everywhere nationally now, but they bought a Hardee's, West Coast. Russ, you grew up with Carl's Jr. Carl Karcher Enterprises. He had an assistant that was on his private planes. It was in his board meetings. It was all that. And I had a chance to meet her. She was an older lady. And I said, I need her to be my assistant. And we could no more afford her than the man on the moon. but I knew I needed her because I needed somebody that had a bigger picture of what it was like to build a company and be the support for that. And it literally, and I think it was 95, I got her because I wanted her and was way above our pay grade. We hired her for $80,000 in 1993, 4 or 5, somewhere in that range, which was probably more money than I was making. To be honest with you, it was probably more than I was making. And I said to her, I want you to tell us where we need to be the best that we can possibly be. And it was about Greg and myself. And it exploded our company, to be honest with you. But I remember having the thought in my mind that it wasn't reasonable. And it was like this freaking corporate assistant, executive assistant, we should have never been able to get her. She was at a stage in her life when she was tired of the pressure, tired of all the rigmarole, and loved the idea of working with two entrepreneurs in a smaller environment. You never know who you can get, but if you don't put them on your list, you're never going to get them. And I just wanted to say those 3 lists for your Dream 100s, like we need to take that concept and just run it. Right? 3 lists, Dream 100. That was my takeaway.
My favorite part of that too, leveraging Russ's video production team, because that you and I both know is going to get clipped out, Don. And we are going to get that out there because it's so true for anybody, any industry. Having those targets of people you want to be in business with at the different levels, as a consumer, as a partner, and as part of your staff, your inner circle. Yeah, brilliant. What else?
So, Don, are you trying to tell us that we need to be risk takers?
Yeah. Another funny story that will take lots less time than that. We bought a typeset machine. Okay, that's how old this is. We bought a typeset machine that was $80,000. Of course, it's been long gone. They don't need typeset machines anymore. But we bought an $80,000 machine when we could no more afford that than the man on the moon either. But it was the big difference that made us what we were at Hobbs Herder. It was the biggest difference maker in equipment. Yes, take risk.
Was the lady the one that told you needed the printer, or was that just
no,
okay.
Separate decision. We were just buying shit like crazy. Just investing like nuts.
That's funny.
It's a lot like what you're doing now in us, so we appreciate that.
Yes. You know, I'd like to add one more thing into this conversation about this top 100. I really think if you're really thoughtful about who it is you're targeting, you should also be thinking, what is the best elimination script so that you're actually speaking to the right person within that 100. And maybe I'll use the example of your 100 could be companies. What companies are you aiming? Well, whatever that is that you're focusing on, when you do finally get in front of that company, who are you supposed to be talking with? Because you could be talking with the secretary and thinking you have a decision maker in front of you, but in fact, they have nothing to do with this decision. And I'm using this as a very rudimentary example. But then you have to also say to yourself, when I do finally get in front of the right person, do I understand the way that they think and what they need? And why should they speak with you? If you find yourself, you need to find that piece, that moment where you can say to yourself, the person I'm speaking to is the person who is going to be able to influence the decision. And how do I speak to them so that they get what the value is without me having to go, here's the feature, the advantage, benefit. They may not want to hear all that. They just want to know that when they're with you, they're in the right place. They're making the decision, but you're just supporting them in that decision.
Well, I would put you back into some of the writing here, because the writing that's outlined in this section on the communication, the headline, the body, the content, making it all about them. All of that translates to your conversations as well. Same model. And I
Same.
want to give you guys one other nugget because we're talking about playing bigger. We're talking about a top 100. How many of you, though, because one of the things I loved in my history, I ran political campaigns, and I always told my candidates that your top 100, we do not want their money. We want their Rolodex. That's what we're after. And so for you guys, as a consumer facing real estate organization, where we want to get more folks from maybe one source, a business might be that Rolodex. So how would you know what are the businesses in your community that you might want to target? I'm going to give you a nugget. Almost every major metropolitan area has a business journal. The Sacramento Business Journal, the Austin Business Journal, the Dallas Business Journal. They're all the same publishing company.
Yep.
And in almost every edition, there is a list of the top 25, whatever it happens to be. And then once a year, they publish what's called the Book of Lists. And it's an entire book of all of the top 25s of the last 12 months in that market. Get your hands on the Business Journal's Book of Lists and use that as a farming tool. What if you just had those CEOs as your top 100? You start there. Odds are, let's say, and I love this because I got Camacho on here. In that is the top 25 biggest companies that moved to Dallas-Fort Worth in the last 12 months. They're moving their people. They're moving their resources, getting in and building those relationships. And again, it's all relationship based, guys. I had an incredible conversation. I got someone in my world who has multiple offices, small time guy with multiple little offices all up and down the East Coast, who's been, I don't like it. He's never been a member of NAR. He doesn't like working with people. And he's trying to build a brokerage out of it. He doesn't want any support from anyone. And this morning's conversation was truly a breakthrough because it was just all about helping and building a relationship. Find the people, find out what they need, offer them support, and watch the magic happen. What else you guys have?
Well, I was going to suggest, do you all know about Bundle Select?
Bumble Select?
Bundle.
Oh,
B-U-N-D.
Bundle. Okay. Just check.
Don knows. We want to tell him about it?
No, I don't. You brought it up. It's your call.
So EXP has a certification you can get, which is the Bundle Select certification. I believe it's a certification. And basically what it is you go through training to understand how to invite companies into a special program where their employees get a discount on the realtor when they're moving. So you're getting a company to accept this relationship and that EXP Realty will represent them in this transaction. And if you're the one that brings in the company, you get a percentage of each of those referral fees. Ta-da!
Awesome. So that's through Relo then, or Revenos is Revenos is the name of that group. So that's I'm thinking anyway. If you know where to find to look for it, that's awesome.
That's internal to EXP, which is awesome. And I know other companies on here, you very well may have something similar inside your organization. And so, there's always ways to find this stuff. Now, I've seen a lot of people wanting to pop in. So who else has something based on the content or the conversation?
I'll pop in. Page 162, 83% of people watch ads with the sound off. That has so many implications. They're talking about the videos that we're putting in. So all of that is your marketing and stuff. Our lives are video with the sound off that other people see from a distance. They may or may not hear us, what we're doing, but they see our actions. And they get to see our actions, and we don't have to be saints. We just have to have, if they see the integrity, they see whether we're people that they want to be in business with, whether we're looking. And here's a place where that can be, it's kind of like watching with the sound off in many times. Who are the people? What's the energy? What's the life? And it's just, the visual is so impactful wherever you are and whatever we're doing. It brings back to mind, speak what I want and not what I have. Speak where I'm going, because when you're living that whole, where am I going? There's room in there for data points, which we often call failures, but it doesn't matter if okay, now taking it back to the marketing, we can make the videos and watch our own videos with the sound off. Do we even look interesting in there? Do we look interested in what we're saying? So there's a whole circle of things in there. We get to be who we are, but live where we're going, and a mindset of where we're going, and not the things that we've missed and are failing at.
Yeah, one simple thing right at the top of page 162. Another Scottish study reported people were more attracted to men or women who smile more. Wow. A simple, easy nugget. Like, who knew, right? And yet that's part of that watching without. So are you having fun in everything you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
The smile shows up when you're having fun. Don,
Coach.
you got something.
Oh, go ahead, Don.
I actually, here's mine, but it's moving far away from this. So if you're coming in on this, Cesar, you go, and then I'll come back.
I am in the sense of of being Argentina, or my mom being from Argentina. We talk with our hands a lot, or move a lot, so that's a plus that I was blessed with. I just wanted to add the event thing too on the book, the events, how he threw an event and at the club, and then that reminds me of my prior before and being in real estate. I was in like live marketing, doing a lot of branding and things like that nature. And people remember who they had fun with at these live experimental events. Exactly. It's not really, oh, cool. It was, such random, from Nike to Adidas to like spray bubbles or whatever. And it's like all about your energy, how you came about. You only have 3 seconds to release your message as people were walking by. And it's so similar to this in the event space. They'll have people will do business again with the people that they have fun with and they remember. So if they're picking out a product, they're like, oh yeah, I had such a good time at that festival with Cesar, and they just pick up that product. So, and the same in our business, to tie it in with these events, whether you don't necessarily have to be at the club. I love the idea and everything. But it could be something smaller. I thought about brews and buyers, like that mindset, things like that, biking and buyers, something that you like, that other people like, that you connect with and have a good time. And then I know I forget what his name is, but is Mark's client, that same thing. He remembers him by all the events that he throws. So just wanted to throw that before moving off.
Awesome. Love it, Cesar, and great tie-in with the event piece as well. Don, go.
So tying into the event thing. So remember, guys, events are a big deal. We're going to keep bringing events to you guys. Okay. That's one of the things that will keep you can bring your clients, you can bring your recruits, you can bring everybody. We're going to keep doing events, because events are a way of us gifting to others, pouring into others, giving to others, and expecting nothing in return. It's a great way to do that and give value. And you don't have to worry about the value. You got to just focus on getting people to attend. So again, we've got Bob Berg coming up. That's not what I was going to say, but I want the big picture of that to sink in. This was talking about education, marketing through education. We have education. Okay, I want to go back to the ultimately the 7 months of marketing. And I want to give you a thought that has occurred to me during all of this. And that is, every form of marketing should lead to something else in the way of marketing. Everything. So if you're online marketing, it's your website, what is it leading them to? An offer, to an event, to something else, where we get to then hand them, maybe if they're coming to an event and it's a physical event, I get to hand them something that's mine. So it's a print. So I take them from offline to an event, from online to an event to offline. Everything you do should weave. People used to ask me all the time, should I do a personal brochure? Should I do a website? Or should I? Yes, the answer is yes. You got to do all of it. It's not one thing. One thing is going to make you or break you. It's not only email. It's not only social media. That's the fallacy. We were doing an event in Austin like 3-4 weeks ago. And there was a gal there teaching Instagram. I have no problem with that. It's brilliant. She was awesome. But it makes it sound like Instagram is the solution. It's not. It's part of a solution. And that's why I want you to keep coming back to the 7, and we get overwhelmed. It's like, there's 7 musts. How do I do all these things? You start a system for one of them, and then you perfect that, and then you build a system for the next one, and you build a system for the next one, and you start weaving those things, and don't let go until you've got all 7 in place. And through time, that's why branding and marketing takes more time. But what's the answer to it? It's the long-term solution, because it is what keeps people so in your system. They're coming in from all sides. They're getting information from all sides. You're educating. You're moving them from out there to in here, from in here to out there. You're consistently moving people around, and that is where you're going to have your ongoing relationships be so strong that there's no other answer except you in the real estate business. Okay. So
all right. What are you guys hearing? Don's laying it down today.
Don, can I add something that it reminds me, I think, from Gateway to Mastery, a study that you mentioned about Coca-Cola, where they stopped advertising for a week or a certain amount of days. And after that, they saw like a 6% reduction in sales. And so everyone thinks as Coca-Cola is such a big brand, they don't need to advertise. That's not the case. It's constantly, that's why you see those little things at the bar, at like restaurants, or more like in overseas, you see these like the umbrellas, the tables. They'll supply all that stuff to the restaurants for branding. I mean, it's just they'll probably have some type of sales involved as well, but it's all part of the umbrella. And it's just like a great stat that it reminded me when you said it's so much about it's so important even in big brands like that.
Absolutely. Camacho, you attempting to get in here, brother. What do you got?
I just want to share that we're in the conference room. Today is our all-day call day, and we are starting with I wanted to add to what Caesar was saying earlier. The book is called How to Change the Habit of Being Yourself. And basically what it does, it goes into the idea of our experiences and our memories, our experience, memory, our thoughts of it. And what it does is it whittles it down to how we felt about that, Caesar, which is what you were talking about. How we feel about something becomes our memory of it. And that whole book is fascinating. It's Joe Dispenza, if you guys are interested in looking that up. But he had some really great mindset stuff on how to change. The book is just funny. How to change the habit of being yourself, which is fascinating. But it goes right into that you're talking about.
Awesome. Excellent. And do me a favor, my friend, do a little speed test on your computer. There were moments, at least on my end. Everybody else with their little breakups here and there?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm seeing head nods. So
Yeah.
Just as you're going forward. All right, man. So that being said, guys, 2 more minutes. What else you guys have? I'm happy to just wrap it up then and get it done a minute early so we make sure people know what is coming together. So today, 12 to 1, I'm doing my first workshop for you guys. This one on the calendar process that I follow and use. I want to make sure you guys are implementing a little better each day. It's kind of fun for me. I know the people that aren't here every day that show up and get all excited. I had somebody earlier this week. They were committed and they're not here today. Odds are that it's not them. It's a lack of a system or process. And in this case, specifically a calendar process or calendar system, excuse me. So we want to help you guys implement that. And then again, we have on Wednesdays, it's not on here anymore. Maybe it is. I'm not seeing it on my calendar right now. Wired Wednesdays, 1 to 2 o'clock. So back here in the Renegade Room, Maria's in here doing Wired Wednesdays, helping you guys implement your KV core.